to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
Me, I said Rob.
Today, folks, we mourn the loss of the 2024 New York Giants football season, guys. It's over.
Yeah.
It's over. And, we try not to be the overreactionist people, because let's be honest, how many times have we as fans overreacted to one game? It happens all the time, guys. All the time. The Giants are officially done, though, guys. We got 5 losses through 7 weeks. It's freaking done. You'd have to run the table the rest of the way, basically, to go ahead and be 12-5, or lose 1 or 2 games and that's it, to maybe sneak at the bottom end of the postseason. That's not going to happen, guys. Let's be realistic. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we don't have to run the table. We need to just get another 9 wins, and we'll probably make the postseason. And it's
just keeping it positive. Here's the 2025 draft. That's right. That's
pretty
right.
much.
That's basically what we have left in our lives. Yeah, it's not good, guys. It's not good. Yeah, and it ticks me off, because exactly what I thought was going to happen is what happened. I said we'd probably lose. I said the Giants have trouble with the run game, and yeah, we lost, and the Giants had a lot of trouble with the run game. So, we'll definitely get to Saquon in a little bit. I don't want to lead off with Saquon, but yeah, that will definitely be a topic, guys, of course. So, but like I said, the very first thing is just we got to acknowledge this. The season's over, and it sucks to say that as a fan. It sucks to kind of have that mentality that early on, guys. But
it's hard when you have one game after this many weeks of football, like one win after this many weeks of football, you're not off to the playoffs, pretty much. Yeah, you're off to, like what Deb said, to the 2025 draft.
Yeah, it's time for the postseason. Yeah. And I mean postseason, I mean the NFL draft. That is postseason.
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, if the Giants want to make it to the postseason, they better start buying their tickets now.
Yeah.
Because they are not traveling anywhere free.
No, they're definitely not. So, yeah, Giants officially lose, get smacked tremendously by the Philadelphia Beagles. Listen, guys, it started off the first quarter and a half, I guess you could say, as a close game, and then all of a sudden, the latter part of the second half, the Eagles get back-to-back touchdowns. One off of a massive long run by Saquon Barkley at that point that led to them getting their first one, and then a 4 and 3 towards midfield, and they just chuck it up to A.J. Brown and get a touchdown with Nick McLeod covering there. I mean, it's just...
Yeah, I mean, even still, I wasn't lost in the first half. We were down 14-3 going to the first half. But look at it. 2 big plays. It was at the end of the first half, it was 5 sacks and 6 sacks. There's 11 total sacks, which was the most. And
it's a lot of sacks.
There were sacks everywhere. It felt like I was on Drew's Grindr account.
Whoa! You said you wouldn't go on that again. Hold on. Why are you on a Grindr account?
I was on yours. I was trying to log into. I was trying to log into Giant Goofballs, their email, but somehow your Grindr account keeps coming up.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Try to spin it.
Sure, you need to get off that site.
That's okay. But yeah, it's I honestly, once it hit 14-0, I knew it was over, because you look at the Giants to go, this team has trouble putting up points in general. Let's be honest, 14 games about what we put up per game as it is.
Especially
you're asking the Giants to outscore from that point on the Eagles by more than 2 touchdowns. That's not likely to happen. We're lucky when we hit 2 touchdowns in general. You know, so yeah, not a good output here. So let's get into the topics that we're gonna obviously have to talk about. And the very first one, we'll get it out of the way right off the bat. And again, it's not the Saquon thing. Screw Saquon. We got to talk about Daniel Jones because that's the biggest topic I think that's going to be coming up this week here. Because listen, this loss is not on Daniel Jones. This loss is on the entire goddamn offense. But it's not going to be on Daniel Jones. I want to throw that out there because I know Daniel Jones people that just love Daniel Jones go, oh, there they go being negative again. Like, no, I'm being honest. This is not on Daniel Jones. But Daniel Jones should never step foot on the New York Giants football field again for his entire career.
Yeah, he wasn't part of the problem, but he definitely was part of the solution. So you're 100% right. Like, the offensive line was not up too many sacks. Brett, yeah, they also let Johnny Jones on his own sacks. You also have Hyatt. I mean, Grant, he hurt his hamstring in that play, missing big plays down the field.
Well, that was later on with Locke. The game was already even over at that point. I mean, but I'm talking about the fact that we said at the beginning here, the season's over. Daniel Jones has an injury guarantee. Daniel Jones is prone to injuries. Daniel Jones is not in the plans for next year. This offensive line played like poop today. All those things together tell you it's time to Russell Wilson his backside.
I don't know if I want to go Russell Wilson either. Ugh.
It is time to car him.
Ugh.
But that's the people have had this happen to the last 2 years. Like I said, if we're not going to keep Daniel Jones past this year, and if Joe Shane says we're going to keep him past this year, I will smack him right upside the goddamn head. But if we're not going to keep him next year, it is time to sit him and not risk him getting injured. And that's not me saying that Drew Lock is better than him. I mean, look at Drew Lock at this.
No, you're looking at the investment down the road. Like, exactly. If you're going to say, like, hey, do you want to throw $20 million down the toilet or take a chance on it? It's like going to the casino, put in $20 million on green.
Yeah. Well, here's the difference, though. On that scenario, putting $20 million on green, you could lose it all or you can double your money. Here's the thing. We can lose it all.
Double.
Well, but I'm saying, like, we can lose all our money by playing him or win some meaningless games potentially if you think he's better than anybody else we have on the roster. And that's a debate that we don't even need to have at this point, whether he's better than Drew Lock and Tommy DeVito. It's irrelevant at this point. If we win some games because we have Daniel Jones on the roster, we still don't get in the playoffs. We still get absolute buck kiss for it there. So what we need to do is sit his backside down to the bench. Huh?
Oh, butt kiss. I said, who's kissing your butt?
No one's kissing my butt right now. I'm on a seat. Technically, the chair is kissing my butt. But we need to sit him down and just end this already. The Daniel Jones era is officially over with this game. And if it's not, this is point blank franchise malpractice by Joe Shane. And I'm assuming because they seem to be in sync with a lot of this kind of stuff, Brian Dable. It is time to sit him. Daniel Jones, because you're not going to you're not going to cut him. You can't cut him. It makes no sense. You to lose money by doing that. But what he can do is he could be the new DeVito. He could be the new guy that's on the active roster, is inactive for the game, and is listed as your third emergency quarterback. That's where Daniel Jones's role should be the rest of the season. And in the meantime, it shouldn't be Drew Lock who we saw today. It should be Tommy DeVito playing and seeing what he develops into. And again, I've told you guys this on there before, and Deb put it right here too as well. She said, I wish to play DeVito and see if he's a viable backup for the future. That's exactly what we're looking at. Is DeVito going to develop into a backup in this league? Because he's not going to be a starter. I don't think he's that good.
Yeah. Hey, can he be an Italian hero?
Like a sausage and peppers?
Yeah. Italian sub, man.
Oh, you're going Jersey Mike style on us instead.
Well, that's the New York thing. It's a hero. Hoagies when you're in the boondocks down south.
Oh, is that what
Jersey?
It is? I don't know. It's always a sub to me. But either way, and yes, Dakota, I'm also not. Yeah, I'm there with you, Dakota. Hello there, because I know you're going to say Sutton. You're good. And he says, don't they all practice 4 times a week? Well, I don't know what that comment's about, but yes, they all practice. But like I said, I think the big thing is at this point is to not let the Daniel Jones mistake be a worse mistake by risking him getting injured. He needs to go ahead and be the third quarterback. He needs to be treated almost like an injured player in practice where there's no contact. I want that red to goddamn jersey right on him at that point there. And I want them to go ahead and not play him. He says coaches see the quarterbacks in practice. But that's not what this is about. This is about the fact that you're preparing for next season. That's what you're doing at this point. You are preparing for next season. And what you should do is sit him and not risk that injury guarantee. That's what this is all about. Don't risk the injury guarantee.
Yeah, 100%. Like, why? We're already paying this guy way too much money this year. Why pay him an extra $20 million when you're just going to get rid of him?
Yeah.
And
because if he gets injured, it's guaranteed.
Yeah. And the question is, we got to figure out what we're going to start talking about. It's like, do they like who they have that's coming up in this draft? Do you think they're going to get someone? Or are they going to start looking into one of these journeyman quarterbacks that have been around the league for the past few years and just say, like, hey, be our bridge. You could be our bridge, baby.
And you know what? If you don't think, hypothetically, that Drew Lock is the answer and Tommy DeVito is the answer, at least for this season, I'm saying right now for a moment, then go trade a late-round draft pick. I'll give you a 7th-round pick for Jameis Winston. You know what I mean? Like that kind of like I'm not saying the Browns would do it. I'm just throwing a hypothetical out there. Like no matter what, there is no excuse whatsoever for Daniel Jones playing one more snap under center for the New York Giants, unless both quarterbacks in front of him get injured and he gets used as an emergency quarterback. That's the only scenario we should ever see him there. And obviously, the likeliness of that scenario is so low, it's not even funny. Daniel Jones needs to go. And again, not his fault today. Not his fault.
But I mean, he's also the guy that's under center, who's the leader of the team.
Yep.
And if you win or lose, like, that's still on you. Like, you're the leader of the team. Like, it's sad to say, like, he may not be the guy that lost the game, but you're still responsible for your team because you're the leader.
Yeah, and John says here, supposedly other teams interested in Jones, like the Raiders, he shortened help his stock today. I can't imagine one team that'd be interested in Daniel Jones. I really can't, unless they need a backup. Like, if you want to use Daniel Jones as a backup, I could see that as a role. I think he's not a bad backup in this league, but you're still gonna have to pay some of the money even if you trade for him. So,
listen. Actually, Raiders. Let's go back to that for a second. Listen, if they want to spend the capital on getting Daniel Jones, because they said that Minshew's not the answer, and AOC, if you will, Adrian O'Connor, or whatever his name is not the answer, and they want a chance to win a couple games, even though they have 2 wins this year as well.
Yeah.
They want to trade for Daniel Jones and pay him the money. Like, okay, let's figure it out. We'll give you Daniel Jones, take his contract. We'll finish paying out this year, and we'll take Minshew. I would
take anything for Daniel Jones just to not have him on this team any longer at this point. But I don't. Again, there's cap issues that we'd have to look at with this whole thing, and there's also the fact that, again, I don't think anybody's crazy enough to actually trade for Daniel Jones. I really don't. But the problem you run into, and I'll be the first one to tell you guys, I counted a lot of things like over the cap and stuff like that to tell you what to do as far as, the numbers for trading Daniel Jones. And I don't know where the numbers would end up at this point when it's midseason. So I'd have to rely on somebody who has access and more knowledge in salary cap situations than I do. But I'll tell you this, if we had traded him this offseason, we would have only saved $14 million under the cap, it says. So that says we probably would save some money by trading him. But again, no one's taking that contract on, guys.
No.
His salary alone, his base salary next year is $30 million.
It's nice salary.
Now, granted, if you trade for him, you can cut him with no losses whatsoever because all his guarantees are already paid out. I don't see it happening, guys. I really don't. So again, I'm not sure the salary cap implications of trading him, but it's not going to happen. Nobody wants him. No one. So, like I said, I appreciate everything Daniel Jones has done for us. I do think he's a hard worker. I do think he's a nice guy. I do think he has leadership skills. I just don't think he has quarterback skills. And that's the most important thing in the end, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, especially when you're a quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So let's get into some other topics here on the offense because, like I said, it's not all Jones. And one of the things I got to really have questioned in this game is the play calling. Because why did we not run the ball at all? I mean, I get it later on in a game where you're trying to get points. You don't want to run the ball very often. But when we have, basically full out abandoned the run in a game that was very close.
Before we can even establish a run.
I just don't understand it, guys. I don't. Like, literally, and this is including the fourth quarter and stuff, including the second half of the Giants finally started running the ball a little bit. You're looking at, you had 12 carries overall between Tyrone Tracy, Devin Singletary, and Eric Gray. And I think the stat was something like only 3 carries for the first half between those three. Like, they're absolutely goddamn ridiculous. Like, that should never happen.
I think it was 4 because Jones had he was the lead rusher.
I'm not talking Jones. I'm talking just the running backs, though.
Yeah, no, I'm saying. I think going into the half, I saw Tracy ran for 30 yards off of 3 runs. Yeah,
no. Terry Tracy has six carries, 23 yards in the whole game.
No, I was talking about going to the half.
Yeah, I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, I was talking half. And then at that time, Singletary, right before half, I saw the stat where it was like Singletary had 1 run for a yard.
That's what I'm saying. I think it was like 3 carries between them.
Yeah, it was terrible.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Dan Jones like led it with 36 yards. And
and you got DJ's point blank getting his head taken off left and right. We'll get to the line a little bit there. DJ's getting his head taken off left and right. And what's the best way to help a passing game when a quarterback's having trouble getting time? Make them respect the run. But instead, we weren't even running at all. At all.
Yep.
Like, we can't get a pass game going, yet we refuse to run the ball. Like, how is that going to work? How is that going to make sense? Absolutely goddamn ridiculous. It's like, I just don't understand that. I really don't. Like, why would you think that that's an okay thing to do? You have to go ahead and throw the ball and run the ball and have an actual split offense. You can't just throw. Now, listen, if you got a great quarterback and a great passing game, go for it. There's plenty of teams that do that kind of thing. We talked about the Bengals last week and how they barely ever run the ball. That makes sense. Because you have great receivers, a great running back, you have a great passing offense. We don't have that.
Yeah, it's funny because sometimes you think Shane and Dave will still think they're in Buffalo, where they have Josh Allen, who they drafted, and they had Singletary as well. And they're like, oh, Singletary runs well because Josh Allen can throw the ball down the field. But guess what? We don't have Josh Allen. Yeah. We got DJ.
It's like, to me, it's like, and again, we've been pretty rough on Daniel Jones at times on this, I feel like. And I feel it's not like rough to be personal. It's rough because he just doesn't play well a lot of times. In this game specifically, I feel like the Giants did Daniel Jones no favors whatsoever. It's almost like they wanted to say, you know what? We're going to put this ball in DJ's hands, and if we lose, it's his swan song. It's almost like that was the plan, because you can't do that to a player like that. Listen, the Giants have done so many wrongs by Daniel Jones, it's not even funny, between the lack of offensive help, the offensive line issues, the horrible offensive coordinators we've had here. I mean, we've done everything. Garrett's right. We've done everything to ruin him. Everything we have. This, I feel like, was the last step of ruining him.
Yeah.
Because, again, his Giants career should be over. And he's off to someone else to go ahead and probably be a backup. Or potentially a bridge quarterback for somebody else who needs to draft a quarterback. That's that's where we're at. You know, it's just it's sad, guys. It's just it's sad because you put a lot of work and a lot of time into a team, and they just can't get their stuff together, guys. And imagine 2 weeks ago we were all excited. 2-3. Where maybe this is the turning point. 2 weeks later, nope.
Listen.
We're saying goodbye to the season.
Well, I mean, dude, to flip it around and you play, close against the Bengals, could have won that game. Then you're 3-3. You come against the Eagles, where we have potential to actually win the game, and you look like a dumpster fire. But it changed around. Like, you're right. We were praising this team because 2-3 is not the best start of the season, but you can turn it around and still, by week 7 be 500 plus. But nope, they continue that dumpster fire.
Yep. Yeah, and like I said, just absolutely ridiculous. And I've been pretty big on Dable, being the guy, that I think could be the coach moving forward. And to me, this was a huge mistake on his part. He's the guy calling the plays. He's the guy who's making decisions. He's the guy who's, got to go ahead and right the ship here. And to not run the ball at all when your quarterback's out there getting killed and he's not that good to begin with is an absolute travesty. Absolute travesty. You have to run the ball. You have to help the passing game, especially when your run game hasn't been really getting it going all year long. And when
your passer is not passing.
But part of that, I'm saying point blank, is because of that. And I it's because we're not getting the ball going. And Anthony Clemente, by the way, commented, Dable just committed to Jones starting next week. And if he did, that is an absolute travesty there, guys. Also, thank you, Anthony. Sent a super chat here, $4.99. Much appreciated, man. Thank you very much. Appreciate you watching the show, man.
Appreciate
Yeah. Like I said, I'm just I can't believe that if that's the scenario. And I can't believe I think Anthony's lying. Obviously, I think he's lying, but I can't believe why. Why would Dable commit to Jones? Does he think the season's not over? Is that what he really thinks is going on? Is there a turning point that I'm missing in this whole thing? What's the benefit?
Yeah, do we see this schedule getting easier for us? I don't think so.
Well, we'll go to Germany in a couple weeks. I know Deb put a comment about that already. We'll go to Germany in a couple weeks, and all of a sudden,
9. I mean, we have a shot against the Panthers, I guess.
Yeah,
because they just drop the pants for us all the time anyway.
I feel like the Giants and Panthers playing in Germany is like the NFL's long game revenge against Germany for World War II. It just seems like
and one.
It just seems like cruel punishment. It's like, could you imagine? You go oh, let's go ahead and get the the football game popular in Germany. What do? Let's send the 2 crappiest teams we have.
Well, I mean, on paper, at the beginning of the year, we're supposed to be better, but we are. But
I'm just saying.
Also, same with the Panthers.
I'm just saying. This is that game may end up being the game to decide the first overall pick. The way things are going. Is it sad that again? I'd never been one for tanking. Is it sad that a little part of me almost does want to lose that just in case for that reason? Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Like I said, the majority of me wants to win. The competitive juices keep flowing at that point. But
we're only looking at it
me saying I don't want to win that game.
Especially because when you look at it, it's all right, well, we have the potential to have 4 wins this year, maybe 5. Why risk it in 6?
Yeah, there's a lot. Like I said, there's a lot of issues here.
Let's
move on.
Drake May was looking decent today and last week, so who knows? The Patriots could get more wins than us this year.
Yeah. Let's get on to the offensive line, guys, because we got to talk about the offensive line. So, we've been very much praising the offensive line this year, and rightfully so. They played much better this year. Can you guys honestly sit there and say that now after today? It's almost like we took a big step back, you know?
It's like we're missing a key player.
Yeah. But it's also like this Andrew Thomas. I mean, granted, he's that good. I get it. He's like one of the best tackles in the league. But it's like, how do you go from like a really good offensive line, which we've been, which sounds weird to say, to like playing like last year just because we lost Andrew Thomas? Like Jermaine Illuminor didn't play as well. You know, JMS missed a couple of stuff. There was a sack up the middle that was called out on him. You know, Van Routen didn't play necessarily the best at that point. The only guy I didn't hear and see making mistakes really was Runyon. Yeah. Which he's always been a really good pass blocker. That's just what he is. I mean, not running the ball like we did kind of plays to his strengths.
Touche.
But oh my gosh, that was just it was brutal to see. It brought back like flashbacks from last year, guys. It brought back flashbacks from last year. It really did. And yeah. I don't know. I'm at a loss here, guys. I'm at a loss because this is just it's a really sad day to be a Giants fan. It really is. And it's not even the fact that it's the Eagles, which I know a lot of people go, oh, it's the Eagles. I hate losing the Eagles. No, it's just the fact that, guys, the season's over. Point blank, it's over. It's done.
It's hard to come back from 2-5.
No coming back. There's no coming back. Yeah. Let's talk about the defense, though. At least we can be a little more positive with the defense, I think.
Well, 5 sacks in the first half is pretty good without Tibbs.
And I can't sit there and blame anything on the defense, really, because how many times are they supposed to stop the Eagles and the Giants do nothing but 3 and out before they eventually give it up?
Yeah.
They're tired, they're gassed. You know? That's what happened. I mean, I know 28 points, it seems like a bad defensive outing. I don't think that's a bad defensive outing. I think that's a tired, fed up, exhausted defense. Point blank.
Yeah, and like
especially
I said,
how we lost.
I was about to say, like I said earlier, the first half, like, yes, it was 14-3 at the end of it, but it was 2 big plays that made the difference. Barkley had a 61-yard run, which they had a 3-yard run for a touchdown, and then on a 4th and 3, you had Brown go for 40 yards.
Oh my God!
I feel like it was 2 big plays that made the difference. That defense was stopping and just beating up on Jalen Hurts the whole game.
Oh yeah, 2 sacks by Dexter Lawrence, so I believe now leads the league. At least we'll see how the week ends up here. In sacks now, I think it's 9 I think now in the season. You know, you get 1 by Brian Burns, 1 by Timon Fox, 1 by Azeez Ojulari, who again has showed up when he's trying to replace, you know, at least for the few weeks here, Kayvon Thibodeau, and showed up meaning he's actually you could make the case he's played better than Kayvon actually this last couple weeks. This, like I said, this defense deserves respect for what they're doing. It's rough to go out there, and let's be honest here. When they go to the podium, they're going to say the right things, guys. Point blank. Yeah. They're going to show say and show the right things to the face of the public. But when it boils down to it, this defense is not going to go ahead and say what they really think in their head. And what they're thinking in their head is, this sucks. We're playing freaking great. And this offense can't put up a goddamn point for their life.
Number 1 sacks in the NFL. But means absolutely diddly.
Yep.
Because we got 2 wins.
Yep. Absolutely. So, you know, like I said, I want to still give credit to where credit's due at that point. And credit's due to this pass rush because they still played very good. They still did very well in this game. And there's plenty of things that weren't even sacks. Like, we're talking about the sacks, but there's plenty of things that weren't sacks. Like there was one I remember on a route where Saquon Barkley was wide open for a touchdown, but Brian Burns was running, you know, and chasing after Jalen Hurts, and Hurts couldn't get to him. Like, there's plenty of things. And Brian Burns, we have to also give credit to in this whole thing as well, because we talked a lot of smack about Brian Burns the first couple weeks, and rightfully so. Again, he wasn't living up to the expectations we had for him. I think it's fair to do at that point.
Yeah.
But he has been playing so much better the last couple weeks. So I'm still not going to sit there and say he was worth the contract we gave him. I still think we overpaid for him. But he's been earning it the last couple of weeks. And I think if we're going to sit there and talk about times he doesn't deserve it, times he hasn't played well, I think we also have to give him the credit for what he has done. Because even there's, like I said, there's plenty of moves you see on him that won't show up in the stats. There's plenty of things he's done that's not going to show up like that. Like I mentioned, that one run stopping Saquon Barkley, from getting the ball. But it's there. It's definitely there. The production's been there. The he's got now 3 sacks at least on the season there. Again, that's not going to show up great if he continues at that rate. But he's got it. He's got 23 tackles. He's got something starting to show there at that point. But again, it's the plays that you don't see on paper that he's doing that he won't probably get enough credit for at that point. So, all righty. Let me do this because what everybody wants to talk about.
Paying the bills?
Everybody wants to talk about one man. Everybody wants to talk about one man. But we're going to pay the bills first, exactly, before we talk about that man. So let's go ahead and pay the bills, and we'll come back and do our Saquon Barkley section of the program here.
Enjoying the show? Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.
Time for the Shack Attack. Drew, is that me? Is that you? Because you are definitely now quiet. Are you still on mute? There you go.
Oh, am I good? You got me?
You're good now.
Woo.
I get it.
Okay. I don't know what happened. My internet went all wonky there, for lack of a better term here. So, anyway, Saquon Barkley. That's the guy we got to talk about. And we talked about this leading up into this season here. Saquon Barkley is going to look like a good contract for the Eagles this year. We said that right off the bat. And he's still going to be a guy that, again, is a good contract this year for the Eagles. I still think long-term they're going to regret it because it's a very much backloaded contract. But Saquon today was a man on a mission, guys, point blank. He was on a mission. And I'm sure if he was able to see Joe Shane somewhere on the sidelines of the stands, he would have probably pointed right at him every time he ran the ball. Because he and Joe Shane don't like each other.
Well, yeah, when you turn around and say, hey, we like you as a player, we just don't respect the number you want to get paid.
No, and listen, there was a couple of teams that are willing to give it to him. It wasn't just the Eagles. So, he wasn't crazy. We thought all along he wasn't necessarily crazy because once he hit the open market, somebody would give it to him. But 17 carries, 177 yards, guys, and 1 touchdown, along with 2 catches for 11 yards. And, yeah, guys, that's worse. I think worse because what we said was going to happen. We talked about it in the preview show. The Giants have trouble stopping the run. We've said that right off the bat. And we said this would be an issue.
Yep.
Now we also said Saquon Barkley is dependent on big plays. And what did we do? We gave up 3 big plays. One of them was, a 55-yard run. The other one was, a 30-some-odd yard run?
It was like 36 yards. That was his first touchdown.
Yeah, and
led to his first touchdown.
Well, the 55-yarder led to the first touchdown.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
And then he had, like 35 yards, something like that. Another big run after that as well. On top of that, most of his runs. Let's be honest, most of his yards came off those 3 runs.
Yeah,
those 3 runs.
What's 176?
177.
Yeah.
So his big runs were what made his day. If it wasn't for the big runs, and again, obviously, at 3 of them, I'm not trying to take it away and say that you can just take it away as if one mistake. Like, it's 3 big runs.
Yeah.
But other than the 3 big runs, the Giants defense did what they had to do against them. The problem is we can't stop these big runs. And I'm going to go out and say that the Giants if you were to look right now and give me a wish list this offseason, I would give you a wish list of number 1, a new quarterback. I would give you number 2 as a number 1 corner, because I do think Deontay Banks is not a number 1 corner. But number 3 for me is a run-stuffing defensive tackle to put next to Dexter Lawrence. We cannot stop the run this year, guys. It's bad. And Saquon Barkley tore us up, as I was worried he might do, but I was hoping we'd stop the big runs. I was hoping a guy like Bobby Okereke would be able to sit there in the middle and stop the big runs. We didn't. Point blank. And Saquon Barkley is probably got the biggest damn smile on his face right now. And you can't blame the guy.
No.
I know a lot of Giants fans hate Saquon Barkley. They booed him every single time he got the ball today. I reiterate, Saquon did not want to come back here, guys. But the Giants didn't want Saquon back here either.
Yeah. We've talked about it a few times. It was your ex-girlfriend that you both knew it was over, and you just kind of hung out a couple extra times to see if things could work. Winky, winky.
But we gave him his freedom. He came back. His agent came back to the Giants point blank to give them a chance to match and get involved with this whole thing. Like, what else was he supposed to do? Take less money to play with the Giants? Is that what we expected?
I guess so. I mean,
I just don't understand the fans with the whole Saquon thing and everything, like this and this guy. Like, I get it. Like, I told you before, I think part of his nice guy thing is an act. I don't trust anybody that acts overly happy at all times. It's just in my experience, the people that do that are typically fake. So I'm not going to sit there and say he's not perfectly.
He's got a chemical imbalance, whatever.
I'm just saying, I'm not going to say he's like perfectly like innocent in this whole thing. But to me, there doesn't have to be a villain in every scenario.
No.
Joe Shane didn't want him. He didn't want the Giants. Perfect mix to go ahead and end it. And that's
when you're one of the better running backs in the modern football era. You probably also want to get a ring with that, to say that you were one of the better running backs in the modern football era.
Yep.
It's not that crazy to say. And you go to a team that one's going to pay you more money and give you a probably better opportunity to get that.
Yep.
In your mind. So, like, I get the move, but there's also other teams he could have moved to.
Yep.
Which is where the frustration comes with Giants fans.
Yep.
It's like, all right. Obviously, you're not going to go to the Niners because CMC, but also no one predicted what happened to CMC this year. But that's besides the point. But could have went down to the Buccaneers. Could have been different.
I would have preferred it to be in Houston, personally.
I was about to say, Houston was literally, you took the words out of my mouth. Sit behind CJ Stroud, young team. They're going to be a good team for a long time. Grant, they lost today, but it was a good game. Or crap, I mean, Green Bay gave up Aaron Jones to across the pond. Or Lake, whatever you want to say.
He went to England?
Yes. Because that's a way smaller body of ocean or water, if you will. But he goes over to Michigan. Like Green Bay could have been another team that's a young team that could have been could be good for a long time.
Yeah.
With Biffin.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like I said, to me, it's like I get it. Nobody wanted him to go to the Eagles. But you know what would have been a good way not to get him to go to the Eagles? Just pay the man. If we're being fair about this, that was the way to stop that.
You're right. But also that's you're looking at hindsight, looking at like that he beat up on us. But at the same time, we just talked about how crazy it is that we looked bad as an offensive line for the first time in 7 weeks. We could have not done that if we paid him.
No. But here's my whole thing, though. Is, again, I'm not sitting here saying we should have paid him. But I'm just saying if you didn't want to have this happen, that was your option. So we chose the risk that he would go and leave for the Eagles over the risk of paying him and having it be a horrible contract for us long term. So this is what you have to take with that. This is the pill you have to swallow when you say, you know what? I made what I thought was the best decision for this franchise in the long term, which is what Joe Shane did. He didn't make the move for this year. He did not make the move for this year. Let's be very frank on that. He made this move because he didn't think long-term Saquon was the answer, and it was the best business decision for the Giants to pay this man for that many years. And I still think that'll prove true. But in the short term, now we're going to see him tear it up in Philadelphia. We're going to see him be one of the best backs in the league in Philadelphia. And until the Giants have a run-stopping defense, we're going to go ahead and see him run it all over us now twice a year. Hopefully we can get that going this year, this offseason, so we can stop seeing it just one more time. Because that was rough to see, guys. That was very rough to watch. This was like the first time, I think, as a Giants fan in a long time that I would have gone ahead and turned off the TV if we didn't have the show, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, the game was that brutal. Like, it was pissing me off to watch it. And by the way, I see a lot of people in here. Now, a couple people at least making comments about should have gotten rid of Daniel Jones and kept Saquon Barkley. Yeah, hindsight's 2020 on that decision. And a lot of people were very happy when we re-signed Jones, and I feel like a lot of people that are very happy are also now trying to claim they weren't. And I'm not saying people in the comments specifically, but I'm saying like, because you figure everybody that's in the comments saying it, there's like 20 other people at that point that are saying it. You know what I mean? Like there are. Listen, it's in the end they picked the quarterback because they thought he was in the upswing. And they didn't pick the running back because they thought he was on the downswing in the long term. And he still probably will be. He's not young for a running back.
No.
So let's take a look. Let's take a look at another thing we got to start thinking about here, guys. And, who's watched I assume everybody here's watched the Die Hard series of movies.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Die Hard number 4. Live Free or Die Hard, was that the name of that one?
Yep.
It was the first of the newer ones. The last good one.
Yeah.
Where, of course, they had the fire sale where everything was taken out. Now, that term is used. That term is used in a couple different ways. And there's also people that look at it as a fire sale when you're just selling everything. Everything must go. It's like a going out of business sale. And the question hasn't posed before. We kind of refused to talk about it because it was way too early in the season to talk about. It's that time to talk about this. Is it time for a Giants fire sale? You see it much more often in baseball than you ever see in football. Baseball teams, especially if you're a Marlins fan, Marlins seem to do it every time they win a game. But it's like, it's one of those things where I look and go, if we're 2-5, we're looking at getting a quarterback. And let me give you guys the list. This is obviously mid of the week at this point. But here's what we got going on the teams that, going to be looking to go ahead and get a quarterback here, potentially. And there's a lot of teams that are in front of us that could want a quarterback. The Patriots won't.
Nope.
Because they just got one. Cleveland, you can make the case Cleveland needs a quarterback more than anybody. They can't get out of the Deshaun Watson trade for a while. Carolina, yeah, they probably want a quarterback now again. Tennessee needs a quarterback. The Rams, yeah, the Rams want to move on from Stafford. The Saints, yeah, the Saints probably are looking to get a successor to Carr at this point. Jaguars can't. They just signed. And then there's us. So that is 5 of the 7 teams in front of us, guys, want a quarterback. You know what that means? If we don't start losing more, which sounds weird, we're not losing enough. But if we don't start losing more, guys, what that point blank means is we're going to have to trade up to get a quarterback.
Or you got to sit there and take a journeyman down the road if you're not willing to do that.
Yeah, we'll take
just like we talked about previously, the back end of Matt Stafford or something.
Or you trade, or you get like a lead around quarterback you try to develop. My whole point I'm getting at is we may need as a team some picks. If we're going to want to potentially move up for a quarterback, we're going to need some picks. And right now, we don't necessarily have all the picks necessary to move up because we have just, regular picks. We don't have a crazy amount of picks. Teams that need a quarterback typically will stockpile picks at that point so they can make a trade. And I look at the guys that we have on this roster, and I went to get our list of people who are pending free agents. And that's who you want to look at potentially sometimes. Who are pending free agents that don't necessarily want to keep. That's where we got to look at there. And the big one you always hear is obviously the conversation of Darius Slayton. Everybody who knows me knows I'm a big Darius Slayton fan. If the Giants do not plan on keeping Darius Slayton long term, he needs to get traded to get a pick because he's worth a pick. You will get a pick. You'll get a pick for him. You could also look at, if you want to talk about other people you could potentially trade. I'm going to say, throw up a curveball here, because Anthony just lists the other one that everybody likes to list, is Devin Singletary. Singletary is not necessarily even the best running back left in this team. If there's a team that has an injury at running back, there's a team that all of a sudden thinks they need a running back, Devin Singletary still has a reputation of respect in this league.
Veteran has played well for the most part.
Yeah. Now, again, I is trading somebody with a not expiring contract. There's potential cap issues there. I did look, though. They said that if we traded him according to over the cap pre-January 1st, which obviously it's way past now, but pre-January 1st, it would have been a wash. So we should be able to trade him with no cap implications, that means. Worst case scenario, we're paying the rest of the year when he's not playing with us. I couldn't care less. He's not a long-term plan guy. He's a guy we had this year to try to give a one veteran guy in that room. Greg Van Roten. He's a guy. Again, I don't want to necessarily break up this offensive line here, but he's an older guy. He's in his mid-30s. He's on an expiring deal. He's playing a position that a lot of teams have need for. Van Roten is a perfect guy to go ahead and look at as a trading person. 100% perfect guy. Azeez Ojulari. That's another guy. Now, might be a little rough to do, especially while Kayvon's out. But if the Giants do not plan on re-signing Azeez Ojulari, then get the draft pick. Absolutely.
Yeah, big time.
And that's where we're at there, is you got to go ahead and make the call for doing what is best for this franchise. And what's best for this franchise, guys, is getting a quarterback to move forward with. If you don't have a quarterback, you don't have anything. That's where we're at. And we don't have a quarterback. We're in that frame of a team that desperately needs a quarterback. And if you're going to move up one in the draft, you need draft picks to do it. If you can get rid of people that you don't plan on keeping long term, you're not hurting yourself long term. You're helping yourself long term by having those extra picks. So if the Giants don't plan on keeping those guys, there's 4 guys I just listed right there that we can go ahead and get picks for. I'm not saying they're going to be, huge picks. I'm not sitting there saying we're going to get first round picks for these guys. That's crazy, obviously. But let's say if we get, maybe a couple 4s, a 5, you get some extra picks at that point. You have the ammo now to do some maneuverability here in this draft. And that's what we're going to have to do, guys. That's what we need to do. So, all right, let's go through some comments here, guys. And if you guys have any more thoughts you want to share as well, feel free to pop into the comments section so we can read it here to the program. Joe says, pathetic play today. After the first quarter, they shut down. Yeah, I think the defense honestly shut down. I really do. And that's not a knock on them. I think that, I think that in the end, they just didn't want to keep busting their butt at that point there without getting the return. A frustration thing. I don't think it was on purpose even, John says, how about those Giants, LOL? He said, totally should have let Tommy Lasagna play. It's over with Daniel Jones. Damn straight it is. There's Deb's comment we talked about before. She says, Germany's in for a real treat watching the Giants play the Panthers. LOL. Yeah, that's pretty bad there. And John says, suppose the other teams would be interested. We talked about that one already there. Anthony says, Saquon. Yeah, as an Eagle fan, they're talking a little trash. Listen, you beat us that bad today. You can talk a little trash. John says Drew Lock is not it either. They need to play Tom Millers, which means he meant he said Tommy DeVito. He said later on you and get a backup quarterback for him. Listen, I would start Tommy DeVito next week, point blank, and I would sit Daniel Jones as emergency quarterback, and I have Drew Lock as my backup. And it sounds weird to give the third quarterback the shot over the second quarterback, but I would. John says Saquon had more yards than the Giants. He didn't even play the whole game. The Eagles should have let him play the whole game. You probably see him get about at least 250. Yeah, I mean, yeah. You only talk so much about how pathetic this Giants offense is, but it's just sad. John says, add Clearhouse again. I'd fire GM, coach, etc. Fresh start. They should get Daniels or at least Penix Jr. It's not looking good for a while. And what we will do, how do we fix this? I don't think necessarily getting rid of Shaden Dable is the answer. I definitely don't like everything they've done. Don't get me wrong. But guys, we can't keep changing coaches and GMs every year. This is year 3 of this regime. They did great things the first year. They had a great draft this year. We need a quarterback. We point blank need a quarterback. And that's not a decision, obviously, I get to make or that you get to make or any of us get to make at that point. That's a decision that even, John Mara and Steve Tisch and the ownership group needs to make is if they want to keep Shane and Dable around long term. If they don't, then they need to move on. Then I will agree with you. If they don't want to keep him, they don't have confidence in him, then it's time to move on. Because we're about to start a new era of Giants football here as we get a new quarterback this offseason. You can't move on with old stuff in the house you don't plan to keep in there. So that's point blank what it's at. Deb says we overpaid Singletary. I don't think we overpaid Singletary. I really don't. I think that Singletary is underperforming for what we're paying him. That's for sure. That's a fair bet. But I mean, his cap number this year is $3.7 million. That's not that high. He's just not performing. What it boils down to. He's had the injury issue. I don't know if that's maybe what the issue is for him, but he's just not performing. And then John says, "Yep, yes, Deb. Surprised he's not playing with more fire." As we get Rob back here. There he is.
I'd hope.
All righty. So let's see here. Gonna go back now. Where'd I go? I lost where I was at now with the comments. I let you in. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. John says, yes, Deb, surprised not playing with more fire. And then says, line was terrible today. Thought it was fixed. LOL. It looked fixed. Before that, it looked fixed. Yeah. Yeah. And Andrew says, y'all firing all GMs now? No, I don't want to. I really don't want to. I'm not there yet, guys.
Yeah. That's being a little drastic.
That's let's see how the rest of the season goes. If Dable loses the team at any point, he'll be gone. And if you're going to fire Dable, you might as well fire Shane too. Maybe give Brandon Brown a shot. That's or maybe look at who said to do what this offseason, who was right and who was wrong. Again, these are conversations you and I aren't there for. No. These are conversations even Hard Knocks wasn't there for as much as they like to say that. That's just saying. Anthony says, love the show, guys. Only positive to my season now. Much appreciated, man. Much appreciated. John says, yes, Andrew. He didn't listen to his personnel, coaches, etc. He didn't listen to Mara worrying about Saquon going to Philly. And that's him saying we should go ahead and fire at that point Shane. Like I said, I'm not quite there yet. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe. And part of my thing is I don't want to overreact after a really bad game. And that's why I'm not trying to make those kind of crazy comments. I'll say again. I started with the show saying Daniel Jones should never play for the Giants again. That's not an overreaction. That's saving the long term of this season and this team here. But making a comment like Shane needs to go, I don't want to do right after a game. I want to be in the right frame of mind to actually look at it. But I don't think that sounds like right.
Yeah, there's a big difference. Like, when Jay took over the team, like it was a really bad team. And Grant, like, we're still a bad team, but we're not.
3 years he's beat a really bad team.
We're not a really bad team. Like we talked about replace Jones, you get an average, you get a Kirk Cousins, Mr. Mediocre. This offense looks way different.
Maybe we do it, Matt Stafford. Maybe he's our guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like maybe we could be his third home where he could maybe win another.
That'd be nice.
Super Bowl ring.
That'd be nice. Andrew says, Eagles fans here, not to troll or talk trash, just curious what's going on with the franchise. Y'all used to be amazing. I'm an Ole Miss fan, so I did like Eli. Good luck to you all the rest of the season. I mean, point blank, what it boils down to is the franchise that's been stuck with a bad quarterback by their own doing.
Yes.
By their own doing, point blank.
And double down and triple down on bad quarterback play.
Yeah. Let's see. JP Inc. says, Barkley showed you all why you should have paid him instead of Jones. Respectfully, of course. Now, I'm curious as well. Is JP Inc. an actual business? Like, that's just a very professional one to be on the two Giant Goofballs show here.
Check on Friday.
Yeah. Is this JP Morgan?
Yeah.
If that's the case, the super chat option is still available. Just Joy, what's up, man? It says, I feel free now that TJ has been benched. Yeah, you shouldn't necessarily feel free if he's actually going to play next week, though, unfortunately, like we're hearing that Dable is saying in the post game, which he should not be saying. And he also says Joe Sheen is definitely going to regret laughing at John Mara over Saquon. Yeah, I mean, listen, you never want to laugh at your boss. That's never a good thing to do. That's not going to help your paycheck usually. And Dip says bad news. Dwayne DJ has not been benched. Dable says he'll start next week. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. Anthony says, do you guys think once Tibbs is back, we'll start seeing some NASCAR package? Honestly, I think it depends partially what we talked about with Ojulari. You know, if you put Ojulari on the trade block, then the last thing you want to do is risk him getting injured. He's got a little injury prone there, you know? So, they've got to see what's going to happen there. Let's see. John says, if they play Daniel Jones again, they're risking too much. It's not worth it. We need to get rid of him healthy. 100%.
Yep, that's 100%. What we've been saying.
John says, Roberto, what the hell is that above you on the window?
Are you talking about this the shade twisty thingy, or are you talking about the curtain?
I don't know which one he's talking about. Let us know. Then he says, winky.
Was there a flying eggplant behind me?
Yeah, I don't know. Mark says Saquon was given a fair offer. Talent was the issue. It was concern over availability. I mean, again, fair offer. It depends on what you're looking at. It was fair for the Giants, sure. In the end, Saquon was given what he thinks were better offers, not just by the Giants, but other teams as well. We know the Texans were involved. We don't know who else was involved. Again, it partially depends on what you think he's worth. The Giants didn't think he was worth it. Other teams did. Well, we don't know if he actually was until a couple of years from now. That's the way these things work. You can't go a year into it and go, this was a great deal. You know, you're gonna have to wait until a couple of years into the contract and see how it was. You know, that's just the way these things work. Like we talked about, let's use Dexter Lawrence as a classic example. He had one good year and then we gave him a huge deal. You know, we said at the show ourselves we're a little concerned about paying a guy after one good year. And he looks like a steal now. But had he had a bad year that first year, you could have said, oh, this is a bad. You can't do it based on 1 year. You have to look at the contract after a couple of years and see where it's at. That's what it is. Anthony says, if he went anywhere else, I wouldn't be mad. You don't go to the Eagles after saying you want to be a Giant for life. Well, here's the thing. Again, if we didn't want him going there, we should have stopped him by paying him. That was our options. Pay him or risk him going elsewhere. I'm not saying we made the wrong move still. I wouldn't have signed him either. I'd rather use the money towards, players that had a better long-term abilities at that point. Again, I think given another year or two, the Eagles are really going to regret him. He's going to be the next, Darius Slay for them, where he's just being overpaid and not playing up to that level. Field. Not playing. That's where it is at. So John says it's like we're a high school football team against NFL talent. It's so embarrassing. Ronaldo says, man, Giants just play bad. Smack my head. I don't want to say it that. I know it's just shake. I got to say smack. I got to say it that way, guys. By the way, real quick, guys, I do want to pause for a second. Appreciate everybody that's on the show here. keep up with the comments, guys. If you haven't already, guys, if you guys are huge Giant fans and you want to know everything going on with the New York Giants, good, bad, ugly, a lot more bad and ugly, obviously, lately, do us a favor real quick. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button, guys. Hit the thumbs up if you're on YouTube there. We are on a quest to hit 1,000 so we can get fully monetized here by YouTube. We need your help, guys. Point blank. We need your help.
We're on a quest.
Only you can prevent forest fires and help the Goofballs make more money. Let's see. Jared said Saquon is a good dude. Giants messed up. I like I said, I don't know. And again, I'm not saying I know Saquon. I'm not saying I have inside info on him. There's always been an air of fakeness to him for me. Always has been.
All right, so let's put it this way. All right, so I mean, this is a football podcast. It's not like we're all into super media or celebrities, this and that. But everyone knows Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Who was at fault in that breakup? Two amazing people. They all look good on paper, but it didn't work out. They had a split.
Considering there's been lawsuits for the kids and all, probably, but okay.
Yeah, well, that's besides the point. Who follows up?
I'm not sure why we use that analogy, but okay.
Who follows up with that stuff? Drew, come on, get off the TMZ.
It's on the news. It's on the news, guys.
Who watches the news?
I follow the news. But
I'm watching the Rams get a flag and talk about possibly big play.
Well, let's stop at the Rams trading a quarterback. That's what they should do. Jared says you Giants should have gotten rid of the real problem, Daniel Jones. So yeah, obviously
guarantee too much money.
Surprised an Eagle fan there.
Yeah.
Listen, like I said, give it a year or two and see what the Eagles fans think then. JGOK said, what an embarrassing game. Didn't even watch it. You're probably better off doing that. You're better off. Deb says, better decision would have been to tag Barkley and let Jones walk, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, I can't remember what you said there at the point, Deb, and I know you'll be honest and say if you thought that at the beginning. But yeah, hindsight in that, that would have been probably the better decision. Or just to pay Barkley back then, because you figure this would have been year 2 of that deal. You would have had one more year of guarantees, and you would have avoided having the issue of the long-term contract that the Eagles will now probably have to deal with because of how they had to frame theirs. Jared said, yeah, your GM isn't very smart. A lot of mismanagement. Listen, he's made mistakes. He's also made some good deals as well. So, it's nobody's all perfect 100%. John says Daniels is hurt. Maybe Redskins will take Daniel. LOL. I don't think anybody's taking Jones. I'll still say that. Josh Grave Collectibles says, well, at least I won money today. I won with Barkley going for 150 yards and at least 1 TD. Easiest money I ever made. Glad you made some money, man. Edward W. Jones. Giants franchise chose Jones over Barkley. That sounds like a banking name, too. Do we have a lot of bankers in the chat today? Is that what's going on here? Isn't Edward Jones like one of those 401k retirement investment? It just seems like that. Anthony says trade Slayton and Aziz. Yeah, like I said, again, we don't plan on keeping them. We should. And as Josh says, we're too stupid to fire sale. They didn't do it last year with Barkley or McKinney. They didn't do it this year with Landon. Didn't do it the year with Landon Collins, where the Chiefs were willing to give up a 2nd-round pick. Yeah. Like I said, I don't think they will because they're worried about the message that sends publicly, but it's the best for the long term, I think. He also says get Hyatt out of here too. Yeah, no one's going to take Hyatt. Honestly, no one's going to take Hyatt, guys. You think anybody wants Hyatt? That's why Hyatt dropped. We tried to say that when we drafted him. Like, it wasn't a bad draft pick because we got him in the 3rd round, and some people thought him as a late 1st-round talent. But, guys, there's a reason he dropped. There's a reason. Anthony says, wouldn't mind a Singletary trade either, LOL. I think Tracy can be a solid RB1. I don't know if he can or can't, to be honest, but we'll find out. John says, I say we email John Mara and tell him to hire us a GM, scout, etc. We make better decisions than they do. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's Monday morning GM right there.
Yeah. Josh says we also desperately need a left tackle that can stay on the field. Yeah, Thomas is good, but he will now miss 26 games in the last 3 years. I'm not going to move on from Thomas. There are certain players, even when they're incident or accident prone, so to speak, that are worth it. He is one of them.
Or game changers.
Yeah, like you just need to have a decent backup behind him, and we just don't. That's on us, not him. Anthony says, do you shop McFadden? I assume you mean Micah McFadden at that point there. I don't necessarily shop him, but if somebody wants to give me a decent offer for Micah McFadden, I'll listen. I mean, he's in year 3 of a 4-year contract, so we've got one more year left. It's not exactly a huge point that we need per se. So yeah, I mean, if you want to offer me something decent for him, sure. But I'm not going to give him up for a 5th-round draft pick or something. I'd rather keep him for the next year and a half instead. You're going to give me something crazy, like a 3rd-round draft pick? Yeah, in a heartbeat. Offer me a 4th-round draft pick? I'll think about it. I'll think about it for a 4th, but anything 3rd or higher, yeah, of course, take that. But no one's going to offer that for him. He's not worth that.
Yeah.
Dorothy says, I think our biggest need is upgrading at punter because we need to be realistic about how we can be best in position to help the defense after we kneel on 2nd and 3rd down. Listen, we just need the Scottish hammer back. We just need the Scottish hammer back.
Yeah. Kilton all.
John said Jones didn't even get 100 yards passing. Yeah, he didn't, but he also got 100 yards, 100 times hit, it felt like. Josh says we also just need a left tackle that can stay in the field. I get it. Thomas is good, but he has missed. Yeah, again, I get it, but he's just, yeah, he's just. I'll still keep it. I think he hit it by the button a couple times by accident there. And then Dorothy says, on a positive note, Casey Kreider looks very smooth as long snapper. Yes, Casey Kreider for MVP.
Yes.
Solving the race problem. What's up? It says big stinker for the Giants at home. Let's start a petition to play every game on the road. Do you guys predict any personnel changes this week? I still wonder. I still look like, will they sit Jones? If they don't, like I said, it's malpractice, point blank. I still think they should. Deb says, plus they took Locke as number 2 and he's no better than Jones. 100%. We've said that plenty of times in the show. They should have brought in a legitimate competition to Jones instead of keep handing him the goddamn ball every single time.
You know me, man. Bring in Winston. He'll throw 7 touchdowns. It could be to the other team. It could be to your team.
Oh, yeah.
Roll the dice.
John says, not the blind twister, the other thing over your shoulder. What thing over your shoulder?
So you're talking about the curtain?
The curtain? Right, is he questioning your curtain, or is he questioning the light of God behind you?
Please win a game.
Dorothy says, if Devonta Smith that led to 1 catch for -2 yards, that has been a positive development if it was Banks or Drew. Banks was mostly on A.J. Brown. I know he wasn't the one who gave it the big touchdown. That was Nick McLeod. But he was mostly on him. Drew Phillips, though, did make some really catches in the really good stops in the run game. That's for damn sure. There was a couple of nice big hits he had there. He never disappoints like that. But yeah, no, I mean, they didn't really try to pass that often. It's hard really to judge too much on how the secondary did because they didn't pass very much. No. They just kept running the ball down our damn throats, and we just kept on not being able to stop it. Ryan says, sign Ryan Leaf. At this point, why not? What the hell? Dorothy says, who was covering Devonta Smith that led to 1 catch, -2 yards? That has a positive development. It was again. I don't know why we get a couple of the same comments a couple of times here, but yeah, again, it's hard to judge. Robert says, Saquon the Giant Slayer. I don't know if I go that far. Then King Pueblo laughing. Maria says, Saquon did not want to play for the Giants. Yes, but the Giants didn't want Saquon to play for them either. Point blank. That's exactly. I don't know why people don't want to say that. It's what it was. It was so obvious, it's not even funny. Reggie said, Giants didn't want Saquon due to injury. It's a business. Don't be mad at the guy for going elsewhere who does appreciate him. Yeah, I'm with you there 100%. Robert says, pay Jones all the cash and he sucks, but let Barkley go. Yeah, like I said, hindsight doesn't look good. Deb says, I still had hopes for Jones after his playoff run, but did not want to lose Barkley. Yeah, I mean,
all right.
G-Men 2011. Sad it's the last time we were good. Biggest rivals. Saquon returned. This game meant so much to the fans, and this team gave up and quit. Pathetic. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like the team didn't quit. I feel like the team just outmatched, point blank. Outmatched 100%. And I think in the end, you can see they quit when they started putting backups in and stuff like that, but the game was over at that point. Robert says, trade Jones for a couple of cooking teas and some water bottles. And listen, how about 1 water bottle? water bottle. Dorothy says the number one of all you upset Giants fans since 2011, no exceptions equals no surprises. So I guess she's saying we shouldn't expect good things. I don't know. John says, never get a Duke QB. The long run he had was great, but until he fell, unfortunately, that was a sign right there. I thought it was turf. Maybe it was just Daniel. It's Jones being Jones, guys. Jones being Jones. John says, how will Thomas be now that he injured his leg? You need your leg to be left tackle. Yeah. And he says, no, he didn't. Daniel Jones, 99 yards. Look it up. Solving the race problem says, even through the poor play, still good to hear two goofballs talk about football, being unbiased, entertaining. Appreciate it, man.
Yep.
We're trying. Listen, we try to take the emotions out of it. It's hard to do it right after a game, but we do try. Blaze says Smith was open, but Jalen has still vision. We have to look at the all 22, and that's the problem. We don't have that immediately. I wish they would just show the all 22 immediately. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I watched it. He dropped it. It was bad. That one deep pass that he had, he dropped it. Like he literally went.
No. Yeah, no. That's not wrong. Jalen. That's not Jalen Hyatt. They said Devonta Smith was open, but Jalen Hurts has no vision. They were saying.
Oh yeah, that's also true as well.
Except
for A.J. Brown, because he was.
John says that's a curtain. I thought it was a balloon or some sort of foam thing. LOL. What? A balloon? It's one of those curtain toppers that goes on top of the window, John. I know what they call that. G-Man 2011 says, remember Shane on Hard Knocks telling John Mara we'll be okay, and then laughing. Yeah, I don't think he's laughing tonight, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Dorothy says, I wonder what Daniel Jones' post-career inspirational speeches to CEOs will be like.
You just got to believe.
John says, hey, Drew Lock has 6 passing yards. LOL. He's a great number 2. And then the poop emoji. Yeah. Again, we said it from the get-go. We are not fans of Drew Lock, guys. No. So, all righty. Well, that's going to cut it a wrap for us here, guys. Appreciate you guys watching. We'll be back tomorrow going over all of the Week 7 action, along with any of the latest Giants news as well going on. So we'll definitely be talking about that stuff later. I'm sure the idea of sitting Daniel Jones will probably pop up again tomorrow, guys, because season's over. It's time. So remember, guys, if you haven't already, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, hit the share, tell a friend about us there, because we admit
ring the bell.
We are horrendous at marketing. We count on all y'all to get this done. And, of course, as always, we are live every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And, of course, with game day as well. And we do sometimes live play-by-plays. I was going to do it today for you guys, actually. But apparently, even with the Sunday ticket, I couldn't watch this game. I had to watch it on my phone.
Test.
Yeah, which is hard to watch on my phone and give you guys live play-by-plays. My phone's like this near my face, so I can actually see what's going on better at that point.
True. You live under a rock? Cast that right to your TV.
They won't let you. If you watch the NFL app, you can't do it. That's the only way I had of watching it, unless I do the bootleg stuff. And the bootleg stuff goes down every so often and freezes, so it's hard to do it. I know you like the one. I know you like your one. But yeah, anyway, like I said, we're always on
Red Zone,
Facebook, Twitch, and of course Rob's favorite,
Drew Slayton. Oh, God.
And, of course, as always, we're available the next day on all the audio podcast platforms as well. That is Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, all of the big ones there. If we're not on the one you're listening to, then you're probably listening to the wrong one, guys. 100%. But if you're listening on multiple, even, hit a like and subscribe and all. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts. All that kind of stuff helps us out, guys. So appreciate you guys for listening as always. Hope to see you all tomorrow on our show, 9 p.m. Eastern there. And as always, Giant fans, even in a loss, we continue to say it. Go G-Man! Go G-Man!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.
That was an awesome game.
Womp.
Nah.
Oh, yeah.
Very much not. Oh, wait.